Come on.
Yeah, sure. So where are we going?
Hey, look.
Oh.
Good, isn't it? Do it again. Twirl around.
Wee, look at the camera there. Oh, you're gorgeous.
Oh, don't put your tongue out.
Bye.
This is me, Beth, and this is my brother, Josh. And here is our grandma, Margaret Rose Moore. She was born on the 20th of February 1933 in Hartlepool. She was a very glamorous lady, very polite, and a dedicated hairdresser for over 40 years. She was well loved by everyone who knew her. She was always up dancing, socialising, and filled the room with joy. She was married for over 46 years with my granddad, John Moore. They met at the rink where he asked her to dance, and they got married at St Aidan's Church on the 1st of November 1958. Together they had 4 children, Susan, David, Andrew and Isabel, sadly losing David at 18 days old. She had 4 grandchildren, Josh, Beth, Michael and Tom. She was very family oriented and she always looked after everyone. Now it's your turn to get to know my grandma from the people who loved her the most. Who was Grandma and what did she mean to you?
The best mother in the world. She's a good listener, always there for us. You know what I mean? So she taught to think to death, as she always did, to make sure that we knew exactly what was going on in life.
She meant the world to me. She was my bestest friend in the whole wide world. Just such a lovely lady. Very, very wise. And she never ever told us what to do. She guided us, she gave us guidance, but she never ever told us what to do.
She meant the world to me. She was so thoughtful, caring and wise. She brought both myself, my brother Andrew and my sister Isabel up and treated us all the same.
Grandma was one of the nicest, sincerest and naive ladies I've ever met. And without a doubt, no matter what she said, even when I was in trouble as a kid, she could make me feel that big, i.e. under a snake's belly with the top hat on, because she had that gift. But you had marvellous respect for her.
Best friend, confidant, the most amazing listener.
She was like a big role model in my life since I was a baby. And when my mum and dad went through a divorce, like she looked after us and cared for us as well, like to help my mum and dad out. She's very kind and caring. She was like your best friend, like you could tell her anything.
Oh, I used to say to me mum, joking, Mum, I'm going to be a model when I grow up. She said, what? For Toby Junks.
Oh, are you going to be an Airfix model, like? Yeah. Okay, mother.
I know. We didn't have any confidence
No,
instilled
I
in us,
don't know
did we?
why. I don't really know why.
No, you don't.
What was Grandma's legacy and what was she known for?
Oh, well, where do we start? Kind, generous, good listener. She could sit on a bench and just, somebody would come and sit next to her, and it doesn't matter who they were, what the background was, what religion they were, what anything. And within about half an hour she's got the life story, because she was a really good listener. People with problems, they sit down and they couldn't understand why they're talking about, but Mum's it was so easy going. So easy going.
A wisdom, values, and she was known for being a very, very kind lady, but she was nobody's fool. She'd weigh people up, she'd know what they're about, and by if she didn't like you, you'd know. But there wasn't many people like that she didn't like. And everybody loved her, everybody was drawn to her.
She used to say that she wished she could be like her mum, who was our Granny Bella. She said if I could be a quarter of what she was, I'd be happy, but she was just as much and more to us. And I think how she's brought us all up reflects in the way we've brought our family up as well.
She taught me to be patient with people, to listen, to take note of people's differences.
She was cheeky when she used to say things that I wouldn't be able to say, but because she was a cute little old lady, she could get away with it. She was very giving. She wouldn't take. She was very give, and she'd always say she'd make the best cups of tea. Known for that, she'd make a brilliant cuppa. And she was known for a good natter.
If she ever went anywhere, you know I'm diabetic, and she'd always get a sandwich for free, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
I'm trying that now.
Can we have that sooner, please? I am diabetic.
I am diabetic.
What was Grandma like as a hairdresser?
Oh, yeah, right. She was good. She'd done a brilliant perm, brilliant trim, but when it come to us as kids, by the way, this wasn't my mum's haircut, by the way. Yeah, we had many a crime match when we got our hairs cut. It was a model design on like a German helmet, really, you know what I mean? But no, as a hairdresser, she was 20 years. She worked in a day centre, doing old people's hairs and old blokes' hairs. But also she done at home as well.
She was a very good hairdresser for older people. Didn't really like our fringes. We looked like something from the Village of the Damned, all of us. But she was very good at her trade. She was very good with older ladies. Remember the time when she permed my hair, wasn't in the infant school, and that wasn't very nice. It looked as though I had pubes on my head. And all she kept saying was, just a little bit of body hour, Isabel, your hair's too straight. It's affected our lives all the way through now. Anybody goes near me fringe, I'll punch them if they're cut it any shorter than I think it should be cut. And we still twitch a bit when we see my mum's scissors.
She was very good as a hairdresser for all the old dolls, but when it came to her children, if Childline had been around, I think we could have prosecuted her. She gave me a perm at the age of 3, and then her perms lasted for 6 months. She'd say, I'm just going to give you a bit of body in your hair. We'd believe her and let her perm our hairs. My sister ended up looking like a little boy, and people would say in the street, oh, what a lovely little boy. And Mum would say, well, actually it's a little girl, and go, oh, never, oh well. When we got old enough to be able to pay for it to get ourselves get our haircuts, we did. And my friend, she would say, isn't your mum going to cut your hair? And I went, no. I said, she gave me mental health issues when I was younger.
We'd all start talking quietly and whisper and go,
Yeah, because she
"Do you
had
think her
hearing aids
was
and
gone?" So she should be like
they're not
that.
working now, Andrew, they're not working.
Yeah.
We turned the telly down, didn't we? So they're not working. Yeah, they are.
What was something Grandma had around the house that you remember?
Besides thousands of ornaments. Thousands, she has lots and lots of ornaments, and we used to go to car boot sales, jumble sales, you name it, we get it. And I'm not kidding you, it was like going into a china shop. She had that much stuff. It was unbelievable. She never paid more than she had to pay for it, because she was a proper shark when it come to ornaments. If somebody said it was a £5, she'd get it down to £2.50. She put the little old woman face on. Oh, I'm only a pensioner, you know. But that's the way my mum was, but she wasn't ripping her off, because she knew what things were. She knew exactly what make it was, where it come from, because she'd been doing for like 50, 60 years collecting stuff.
That. My blue and white. We threatened to paint a telly blue and white because she just loved her blue and white ornaments. And even ornaments full stop, because she had loads. but every single piece of ornament held a memory. She could tell us about it. She always said that when she passed away, if we ever fought over anything, that she'd come back and haunt us. And the thing that we did fight over, in a way, was nobody wanted the ornaments.
I just remember all the blue and white china. She loved blue and white. And I had the pleasure of actually cleaning them for her, which took a long time to do. For each ornament, she could tell you a story about it.
She used to have this blanket. It's like a multicoloured checkered blanket, and when like if we were poorly or something, we used to lay in front of the fire, and she used to put this blanket on us to make us feel better. And she always had a full biscuit tin for us.
I've still got a tablet box, and if you gave her them, it was precious.
It's like something off Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Precious. Special things. Leave them alone.
She grabbed them and go. But she took up cross-stitching, and she was really good. What she does, on most of them, she'll put MRM, a bride of that, for Margaret Rose Moore. Grandma's favourite one, a Willa pattern. And Grandma told me there's a mistake in there, and I believe you know where it is. Grandma knew where it was, and it bugged her because she wanted to go back and do it, because I've known her to be nearly finished something and she'll spot something and she'd unpick it all and start again. But it's just, I look at it, and more so with the Willa pattern in blue and white, I just think it's just Grandma.
How did Grandma change after Grandad passed?
Oh, she was lost, because my dad done everything for her, you know what I mean? He'd pay the bills, do the shopping. Not that my mum didn't, it's just that my dad took care of everything. Many times she'd have a cry. It was like she lost her soul partner, really. And she just didn't know what to do with herself. And we all rallied round and helped the best we could, but eventually she come round and got herself sorted.
Well, she was sad to lose him, but I think because he wasn't in pain anymore, she coped really, really well. We thought that she wouldn't be able to live by herself, but I think when Dad was really poorly and he was sleeping in the bed downstairs, she was looking after him and caring for him. He always used to care for her.
Well, I get me Reggie Moore, look.
She's had a promotion.
Do you remember much about when she lost David and how she coped with that?
I don't really, because I was only 2. But I know it was unfortunate he died on my birthday, and Mum said to me years and years later that she felt as though she'd spoilt her birthday every year because she wasn't as happy as she should be, and I said it was fine. And she just said that, she said, you never go over it, because she thought about him every day, you just have to learn to live with it.
The mug there, that mug was David's. So that was your Uncle David's mug. And it was one of the very few things that Grandma had of David. There was no pictures, because in those days you didn't take pictures of, you know, you didn't do such a thing as taking pictures like that. But that was one of the things that will get passed down to somebody in the family. Even though we never met him in person or in the flesh, he was still part of our family, because Grandma would speak about him. And it affected Grandma, but it affected Grandad as well, because I suppose it's a lot different for men when, you know, when mothers lose the children. The men sort of seem to get, not overlooked, but it's all about how the mum feels and things like that. He was always spoken about because he was a person, albeit very briefly. He was a person. And I remember somebody saying to Grandma, and because Grandma liked a spiritualist, that the son she lost was the image of the son she's got. So when she looked at our Andrew, it made her think, well, I could be looking at our David as well. So that's something very, very, very special.
I remember that time going on one time, and I'd come in the house and she's upstairs in the bedroom. She's just been getting up. It was about afternoon time. And I was sat in the chair, and I could hear her coming down and says, dee, 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 singing and all this, like jumping around and jovial and all this. And she opened the front room door. Oh, all right, Orlando, you're okay. I'm not feeling too good. I said, you know, you've just been singing down the bloody stairs.
And
Oh, no. You make me a cup of tea now, bloody make it yourself.
yeah.
What was Grandma like as a grandma?
Grandma was a great grandma, and I think the thing that stood the most out of me is her sense of humour. Very sarcastic and very, very, very funny. When she was in a room, you know, she filled the room and she made the presence known.
She took time to understand. She asked all the right questions to get the information that she knew that you were hiding. Like when I came out to her as gay, I'd started to come out to the family, and I was terrified of telling Grandma because she was from an era when it wasn't the most acceptable lifestyle. So when I told her, I really didn't give her enough credit before I told her because I was, as I said, terrified. But she was so open to learning, listening, understanding.
She was just amazing. She really was. She used to take us for days out. She used to, like I said, make the best cups of tea. She used to make us like little fish fingers and waffles and chicken nuggets and things. She used to tell us bedtime stories. She used to tell us the Three Bears, and she'd do like all the voices. It's like, who's been eating my porridge? You know, with her dad and things. And she used to give the best head tickles. So when like me and my brother used to sit on her knee, she had us in one arm each, and she used to tell us the story. And by the end of it, we were asleep. If you had a problem, you could sit and talk to her about it, and she'd give you the best advice. Because sometimes you think, oh, like they might not understand. Sometimes the older generation, but she did. She got everything.
She'd have the telly on 70. Mum,
Knocking on the window.
Mum, but you're banging on the window, and she just sat there looking at the telly.
And you'd walk in, I don't know, jump the motor, squealing, are you?
Yeah, if you could get in though, because she always used to leave the key in the back of the door. Mum, open the bloody door. What do you want? I've come to see you. I'd walk in sometimes, but every time you walk, Mum, it's me. Who do you think it is?
Tell us a place where Grandma used to take you as a kid.
Grandma used to take me and my sister Beth to Foggy Fair's library. I used to love going there because it was such a quiet place. It was such a grandma place. You could go there, you could chill. She'd let you take out a little book. Just nice.
This is St Hilda's Church. Grandma used to bring us here when we were babies, right up until we were like in college. Then we obviously started to bring her when we could drive and things. This was her favourite church ever, apart from St Aidan's Church, because that's where she got married. The Headlands got a lot of history, and it's like old Hartlepool, so she used to bring us down here, tell us all the history about everything. Oh, I used to come down here with John, used to bring the kids down. She used to walk down here, it's just quite far to walk, to be honest. I wouldn't walk it. But this is St Hilda's Church. It's probably one of the most beautiful churches you'll ever see.
That time before when our Beth took her to Morrison's to do the shopping, and you only allowed 3 hours in the car park, and our Beth got a fine because my mum was there nearly 4 hours.
Oh, bless.
Tell us about how much of a difficult decision it was to put Grandma in a home.
I think it's probably the hardest thing we've ever had to do. Because my mum lived in the same home for 60 years, and as much as we'd like to have took her in, there was no way we could. You know, if the government had paid for me to stay at home all day long after, I would have done it. But it just wasn't feasible. It was hard, and it was hard for my mum. My mum thought that she was going back home, and really, we knew she wouldn't be, because she was getting that stage where she wasn't capable. And still in the back of my mind, still hurts me when I had to put her in there. But it would give her a better quality life in there than what she would have been sat at home all day by herself, talking to herself, or wandering around the room. and she wasn't steady on her feet. She used to fall over all the time, and she's always been surrounded by people, and putting her in there, it give her a. She's got lots of people to talk to, which my mum's always liked to do, talk.
It was really difficult because Grandma always said, don't put me in a home, kill me, smother me, do whatever you want to me, but don't put me in a home. It was what was best for Grandma, and I know that she didn't see that, but it was what was best for her.
She turned around and said, you know, perhaps if David had still been alive, he wouldn't have put her in a home. And we were hurt by that, but we understood. But I think Mum realised after a short time that that was the best thing to do. I think because of going in a home, we go an extra year with her. It gave us a chance to be with her, as opposed to doing things around the house for her because she couldn't manage herself. And it really gave her a new lease of life, and she made lots of nice friends.
She said to me one day, she said, Isabel, will you do me a favour? She said, if I ever start smelling a wee-wee, will you tell me? Well, because she said wee-wee, I just thought it was funny. And then I did. I was good to her because I said, oh, Mum, it stinks of piss in here. I wasn't as subtle, but, you know. And she looked really hurt. And I said to her, I'm sorry, Mum, but you did say that if you ever smelt a wee-wee, that I'd tell you, so I've just done it in a not so diplomatic way.
Yeah.
We just have the fire on full pelt. So when you walked in, you could smell it and it would sting your eyes as well.
Tell us a funny story about Grandma.
A funny story about Grandma for me was because I was such a little angel when I was little. One time she caught me about to draw something on the legs of her table in felt tip, and instead of flying off the handle or shouting, she just went, Josh, don't do that. And I think about, at the time I was terrified because I'd done a naughty, but now looking back I laugh at it and think, I shouldn't have been drawn on the table legs.
She used to go around all the charity shops for like little bargains, you know. And there was one in the town for the Salvation Army, and I'm really hoping they don't watch this back because I'll probably get charged. But it said like, don't touch things, if it breaks you pay for it. And this is what I mean about she could get away with things. And there was this little like glass vase thing, and she knocked it over and it broke. And I was like, Grandma, like, you have to pay for that. And she went, Grandma? I was like, let's go. So she just walked out the shop. Tell us about Grandma as a mother.
As a mother, as I say, she's the best thing ever. She would sit and listen to you. She'd give you good sound advice. She was never judgmental. It's like a lot of people are nowadays. She was always like, say, there's she always used to come up with these quotes saying, you know, never judge a book by its cover type thing. People know what that means. Phone at any time of day, and she'd listen and talk to you. Or you go around to tell you your problem, and you'd still be there 3-4 hours later. You know what I mean? But that's the way my mum was. She made sure that when you walked out that room, you practically cleared the air.
It was every Christmas.
Oh, no.
Uncle George, friend of the family.
Used to take photographs of us.
But no, these are
uncle.
Christmas. There weren't pedo pictures or anything.
As a
every year,
Christmas present, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. There was about 12 done for special family and friends. The 3 of us were on them.
And we never all a lot because
It's funny how a lot of them seem to go to Germany. I didn't know we had any relatives in Germany.
What's the best advice Grandma ever gave you?
There's been so many things, advice. I would say she always used to say, look after yourself. Always look after yourself. Try and keep yourself healthy. Take care of yourself. Think of number one, because if you don't, you can't take care of other people. as my mum would say. So if you don't take care of yourself, you can't help others.
I think of a number of things, but the one that springs straight to mind, always be honest, upright, look people in the face and tell them the truth. And that's worked in life for me.
Just go with your gut feeling. You know whether something's right or wrong. In fact, she always, all through my life, she gave me advice, very sound advice, very selfless. So it was all about me and not about what my mum thought. But yeah, and make the most of things.
To be happy in whatever I do. Grandma worked as a hairdresser and she loved it. She was happy doing it. And that's all I want in life, is to find a job. I'm not bothered about money. As long as I'm happy. That's all I want.
What do you miss most about Grandma?
Everything really, just being there, listening, somebody to talk to at the end of the phone, go and see. You know, I can guarantee when I go and see my mum, there'll be a list as long as my arm to do, you know what I mean? But I don't mind. My mum looked after me from a baby till I was an adult, so return a compliment, don't you? But it's hard, you miss it every day. The only thing we've got is like photographs and memories and bits and pieces around the house. I always, when I go to work, I always pass my mum's old house and always look. They say she was there for 60 years, her and my dad, and it's a long time and it's a lot of memories.
I miss being able to talk to her. I miss picking the phone up and having a good conversation, and as I would say, we chat shite. We just chat about anything. Every single day I phone Grandma, twice a day sometimes. And if we'd been on the phone for about an hour, she'd say to me, right, I'd go, right Mum, it's time to go, and then she'd go, how's old Michael? How's Mick? Just to keep us on the phone a bit longer. And even though we'd probably been on the phone a couple of hours, once I put the phone down, if I thought, I've never told my mum I loved her, I'd phone her back. So when she picked the phone up, it'd be, Mum, I love you, and she'd go, I love you too. And that's all we ever did, was tell each other we loved each other. But we're all like that. We always tell each other we love each other, but I do miss our conversations.
Having little chats with her, because she was totally deaf, and she'd go, pardon. But it was nice when she was in the home. Her and a friend Alice, we'd take her into the sitting room downstairs. It was nice and quiet. Get her a cup of tea made and take the favourite custards in from Marks's, and we'd sit and have a lovely chat together. And it was just lovely to see her smile.
Some of the activities we would do and go out, for example, my mum and grandma and me, often we used to go down to Seaton Crew, have an ice cream and sit on the benches and just watch the world go by. She liked watching, like people watching. I do as well. I think that's one of the things I miss most. But as well as that, even when she was in a care home, she always used to put smiles on our faces.
Everything. She was just such a rock in my life. No, she was one of my best friends. I miss her. She just gave out so much love.
I miss talking to her. Like, I used to go see her every day after school and after college. I miss her cuddles, and it sounds weird, but I miss her smell. Because, you know, like, everyone has their own little smell, but she had like a little grandma smell, and she always smelled lovely. She had her favourite perfume on, Tweed. And yeah, I just miss talking to her, like giving her a ring, having a good chin wag how her day's been, going to see her, taking her shopping and things. Just talking to her, giving her a cuddle, looking after her, because like I said before, she looked after us for years, so like by the end, like we were looking after her, so like we'd make her tea, I used to wash her hair for her.
Just being able to see her and talk to her and give her a cuddle. It was very relaxing, very comforting to see and talk to her. Yes, it was a bit stressful in the end, but what am I going to be like when I get older?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear man. Happy birthday to you.
You've got the camera now. You've got crowds of on.
That's yours.